The liminal space and backrooms genre have been on the internet for quite some time now, at least throughout the past couple of years when they've become rather trendy and very talked about. While their trends have died off somewhat in recent times, they are still widely known and used in certain games and other aspects of media like ARGs or VHS. Now, before Kane Pixels or the backrooms image became relatively popular, liminal spaces was more of a niche community, but interest grew steadily over time, especially after the original backrooms image from 4chan in 2019. Then came the 2020s, when everyone was indoors and couldn't go outside for whatever reason, which is something that I think really helped boost the liminal space community, but in 2022, Kane Pixels released his first episode on the Backrooms, which exploded in popularity. However, there was a divide in the liminal space community, because on one end, you had people who wanted liminal spaces to focus on what they were originally about, which was nostalgia, weirdcore, whatever else liminal spaces was originally, and then you had people on another side who wanted to bring more horror elements into liminal spaces, to make it more creepy, more eerie, more mysterious, all that fun stuff. Also, if you don't know what weirdcore is, here's an image. Actually, no, here are more images. Eventually, due to the amount of popularity that Kane's Backrooms series got, the horror side of the liminal space community eventually split off into what became the Backrooms genre. While the Backrooms itself may not be as popular now, because to be honest, it feels like the Backrooms itself is starting to become a very, very overused genre at this point, it's still a topic that people across the internet recognize and are very, very familiar with. The idea of liminal spaces and backrooms began to spread more into other forms of media, going from simple photos and Photoshop images into actual ARGs, YouTube series, games, and many more other types of media. On the ARG side, the biggest break was, well, Kane Pixels, which shifted the tone from being eerie to more predominantly horror-based, with many similar ARGs following soon after. Meanwhile, on the game side, there were many different titles like The Classrooms, Pools, the Complex series, Escape the Backrooms, and even some Roblox games. One such game emerged in 2023, 1 year after Kane Pixels began his Backrooms series. And this game, out of all of them, stood out as a bit of a refreshing change in a genre that was quickly becoming very repetitive. And that game was Anemoiapolis. Anemoiapolis was developed by Andrew Quist, releasing on March 3rd, 2023.
It first appeared in February 2022 during Steam's Next Fest as a demo,
which quickly gained a following thanks to its liminal space aesthetic and the ongoing backrooms trend during the time. Andrew would update the demo until the full release, which caught the attention of both the community and prominent YouTubers.
See, people do stuff like this in real life, then cry when they get kicked out of the mall.
Receiving very positive reception. It was planned as a sort of chapter-based series, with the demo now evolving into Chapter 1, marking the start of the story. However, beyond a few post-bug patches, there have been no real significant updates to Anemoiapolis, and now, over 2 years later, there's no sign of Chapter 2 or any update relating to the series. The reason for this? Well, Andrew simply lost interest in the project. Now, looking back, it doesn't seem like the game was ever officially cancelled from the looks of it, but it seems to have been effectively shelved and postponed, as Andrew seems to have moved on due to things going on with his life, and is focusing his attention on other projects, which, is respectable, and while it is a shame that Anemoiapolis doesn't seem like it's going to have any future content, I do wish him luck on whatever comes next. Okay, so this is me post-edit, or editing me, or whatever you want to say. There's actually this really good video out there by a creator called Mr. Dominori that I highly recommend you go watch, because he does a really good job not only going into more detail about why Andrew stopped working on Anemoiapolis, but he actually does interview Andrew himself and gets his, his own words as to why he stopped and all that other stuff. So I highly recommend you go watch it if you want to, of course, once you're, done watching my video. But yeah, it's a really interesting video and I highly recommend you go check it out. But you might be wondering, why am I choosing to cover Anemoiapolis if it's unlikely to get any future content? Because I can. Right away, as you begin the game, you're thrown into an empty parking lot. Already, the environment feels rather barren, with just a couple of rolling grassing hills, some sparse trees in the distance, and the power grid along the road you arrived on. A very rural environment, seemingly untouched by anyone. As we move away from the car, our character makes the following comment. What a sad billboard. We approach a withered billboard that reads, "Welcome to Anemoiapolis," noticing that it has a big closed bar slapped under it, of which our character makes a quick comment about as well.
Anemoiapolis? Anemoiapolis. Anemoiapolis. I think that's it.
The character's dialogue also switches between outspoken comments and internal dialogue, where you have certain moments in the game where the character will speak out loud, and then there'll be moments where there will be text that does appear on screen, but nothing is said by the characters. Moving on, the character notices a nearby transformer that apparently needs to be audited. I'm not sure really how that whole process works because, well, I'm not an electrician, but I guess that's why they know what they're doing, I guess. Maybe someone needs to audit the last auditor of this spot. The cover is missing.
Wait a minute. Did somebody tamper with this?
It's very apparent that someone has been tampering with the transformer, redirecting power towards another device that we can see in the distance. Following the wire then leads to this small little panel thing, and curious as to what it is, we approach it, and...
Oh, shit.
We then land into the deep end of a pool, which breaks our fall and allows us to swim away with surprisingly no injuries. Once they reach the stairs of the pool, they proceed to call out for anyone that might be in there.
Hello? Hello?
Which, of course, is to no avail. Moving around a bit, we can try to find a way out of the vicinity, but with no luck at all, as most of the doors in the area appear to be locked. Our character grows increasingly worried that they're going to be stuck down here. However, the player can notice a little wire sticking out from the side of the diving board. Following it leads to what the character says is an access panel. I don't really know how the character knows about that, but hey, they're an electrician, so upon interacting with the access panel, we're greeted with a little puzzle or mini game where you have to connect these wires or little socket things from one end to the other. A fairly simple process to get through. Completing this then causes the... This allows the player to climb up onto the diving board, using it to create a little bridge to access what seems to be a second floor to this place. Who needs an underground pool? As we walk down the hallway, we come across another section of these pool areas. This time, they're a lot smaller and now feature little water cannons and some beach balls. That's a lot of beach balls. It is here where you can be introduced to the game's ticket system. The ticket system is essentially the game's currency, where you can collect tickets in various amounts, ranging from about 5 to 50. They come into play more as you get further in, but for now, you're simply able to collect them and add them to your total. As our character searches for a way out, they eventually find an exit door. Unfortunately, it's locked with an electrical lock. Our character comments that there's no access panel, but wonders if there's a way to break the lock besides needing to, well, use an access panel. While searching for an alternative method, the player eventually finds a valve and, upon turning it, redirects the water from the previous pump to a pump closer to the electrical lock. And by doing so, the player can aim the water cannon at the lock and short-circuit it, allowing the door to be opened. This leads to a small pool room with a bunch of clouds in it, along with access to the women's restroom and men's room. The women's restroom is locked, but the men's room is wedged open by a sponge-looking thing, allowing us to proceed into the next level. The environment shifts as we're tossed into a restroom area, where our character once again calls out for anyone that might be out there.
Is anybody here? Hello?
Of course, there's no response. Aside from the restroom utilities, this place also has locker rooms, which the player can open and interact with. If they're lucky, they might find a pair of tickets in one of the lockers, assuming they decide to open every single one in hopes of finding something. Beyond that, there's not much here, and the door to the next level is easy to find, where it takes us to an extension of the previous room, where it now has showers. Yes, you can actually take showers in this game and also be blinded again by a flash of light. But it's one of those community showers, it seems, which is an odd choice in my opinion. Exiting the restrooms leads us to a long hallway. It doesn't matter which direction you choose because both lead to the same place, a stairway heading up to an elevator. Besides the elevator, there are 2 exit doors, but both are locked, so the elevator is the only way forward.
Going up.
The elevator takes you to a small mini mall plaza. Right away, you can see a golden elevator at the far end of the plaza. If you approach it, you'll notice it says surface, meaning it's your ticket out of Anemoiapolis.
Please wait for 5 elevators to arrive.
Oh, it's not going to be that easy, I guess. This is where the ticket system really comes into play. Within the plaza, there are several elevators you need to unlock, each costing a certain amount of tickets. Some cost more than others, but you can tackle them in any order you want since there's no set progression. The main goal being to clear all of these areas so you can unlock the big golden elevator at the end of the plaza. For this video, I'm going to be going through each elevator and level in order from the cheapest ticket cost to the most expensive, just to keep things structured. But this is where the game really begins to open up. The first elevator that costs no tickets to enter is called the Conference Center, marked by an image of 2 people shaking hands.
Going down.
The Conference Center doesn't have much going on in terms of puzzles or unique mechanics, a vast, empty space the player has to navigate through. There are occasional tickets to find along the way, but that's really about it. And let me tell you, this place can be very difficult to navigate. I just replayed it recently, and it took me quite a while to find my way out. Sure, the floors would change color from time to time, which might have meant I was heading the right way, but even then, it was hard to get through. On top of that, some of the lights in the area were way too bright for no reason. I guess this game has a bit of a lighting issue, hence why that faucet and shower from earlier was blinding me with the divine light of God. Eventually though, you'll manage to find a way out and exit the level.
Going up.
Next, we have the Country Club, which costs about 20 tickets. The elevator has a golf ball in the background and even a little mini golf game in front of it that the player can interact with. Which, by the way, I only realize now is a big scam because the holes aren't real. They're just these filled-in caps or something.
Not enough tickets? We have plenty of sales representatives.
This level is very different from the others because it introduces, well, the mini golf game. I'm still not entirely sure if it serves any real purpose, but it seems to be endless, as you can just keep playing for as long as you want. The level itself is relatively small, so it's almost impossible to get lost here. Plus, if you don't care about playing mini golf in this area, you can simply breeze through this level very quickly.
Going up.
Moving on to the movie theater, which cost 40 tickets to enter, with the elevator background showing rows of theater seats.
Going down.
When you enter, it feels like you're trapped at first since both entrances are blocked by the gates, but you'll notice that you can climb a decorative ledge to reach the second floor, allowing you to progress onto another level. This leads to a twist in scenery, where we're thrown into a mall-like area instead of an actual theater. Most stores are empty or closed off, but you can still interact with a few things like a minibus, and gumball machines. As you explore, you'll come across an open storefront that contains another access panel. This one a little more complex than the one at the beginning. Completing this puzzle opens the gates that previously blocked off other areas, clearing a path for you to find the exit. Oh, alright then. The next level is a more open storefront, definitely larger than the previous small section. Some stores even have names like Shoes, Shoes, Shoes. What a great store name. While exploring, you'll come across a mannequin. At first, it seems harmless. And, well, it technically is. But if you turn your back for too long, it moves towards you, making you question whether or not it's a threat. If you look around more, you'll eventually find a giant gate blocking another section of the movie theater. The character then makes the following comment. "I can't make it over this wall. Maybe I can find something to stand on." The object in question is a popcorn cart, or at least what seems to be a popcorn cart. The player can grab and drag it all the way to the gate, then use it to jump over and finally access the movie theater. Here, you'll find yourself in a movie theater for real this time. As you navigate through the hall, you'll come across various doors, some locked and others open. You'll then find an actual movie theater with a video playing, whatever this is supposed to be.
In the spirit of individual enterprise. For greater efficiency and greater convenience. In all express city thoroughfares, the rights of way have been so rooted as to displace outmoded business sections and undesirable slum areas whenever possible. Lovely and unchanging. Sunshine, trees, hills and valleys, wrought by God, are lovely. Residential, commercial, and industrial areas all have been separated for greater efficiency and greater convenience. For greater
Alright then, after collecting some tickets and walking up the stairs to another door, you'll find another hallway, and to be honest, it is kind of a rinse and repeat cycle at this point, only now, the next theater is playing a new video. Not sure what's going on here, but we'll just move on. Eventually, you'll find a theater with a path of giant tickets leading you up to an elevator surrounded by an ominous green light.
Going up.
Okay then. Finally, we have the Family Tropical Resort, which costs 100 tickets with a background consisting of pool water.
Going down.
Right away, you're stuck in a room blocked by a massive glass wall, with seemingly no way to leave. However, you're able to find an access panel, and once you complete it, the light fixtures above turn on. Then you enter the indoor water park, where our character makes the following comment. This place makes me uncomfortable. Okay, really? Now you're uncomfortable? After everything you just went through by now, you're suddenly uncomfortable? Here you can interact with the pool floats and even slide down a water slide if you feel like it. But soon, things get complicated when you find the lazy river. Instead of being what people normally associate lazy rivers with, it's an actively shifting maze. This is honestly one of the coolest portions of the game because it's almost seamless in a sense. I don't know how the developer managed to pull this off, but it's incredibly cool how smoothly it happens. Here, you come across an area with multiple slides overhanging a huge pool room, where you can use some of the slides to maneuver through the environment. Eventually, you'll access one of the holes that leads down into the massive pool room. It's also where you'll discover that you're not alone down here. Eventually, players will find the way back up to the slides and come across another hole, leading to a different side of the massive pool room below. Here, they make a very unsettling comment. If I drown down here, nobody will notice. From there, you'll find your way to the janitor's access to the locker rooms, and this is where things start to fully turn into horror. It is dingy in here. Is there someone in here with me? Something is very wrong. Once you're out, you're greeted by another mall section, similar to the ones before, only now everything is fully blocked off. All it takes to get out is to climb whatever this is supposed to be, and navigate through the ceiling area until you're able to find a vent. You then kick this vent down and drop into an empty shopping area.
Going up.
Alright, with all that out of the way, it's now time for us to leave.
Please wait for one elevator to arrive.
Oh, never mind. I guess there is one more elevator we have to go through, which is weird because I don't recall this elevator ever being here before.
Anemoia Sales Group applauds your dedication to salesmanship.
Going down.
Oh, that was not as bad as I thought it was gonna be.
Going up.
Now with everything else complete, you can take the golden elevator to the surface and finally escape Anemoiapolis.
Going up. Please wait for more visitors to arrive.
Hey, I'm in this elevator.
Settle down.
Over here.
You know, of all the people who went down there, you're the first person to come back out. Unfortunately, your knowledge of this place is a liability.
Wait, what are you talking about?
You can't leave just yet. There's a friend of mine still down there. He owes me a few things.
No.
I'll think about opening this elevator when he is in it too. Dead or alive. Oh, here. Take this. You'll need it.
Going to bottom floor.
While it's unfortunate that we may never get to see what comes after this ending, I still think Anemoiapolis, in of itself, is rather interesting. And even now, years later, people are still playing it. The game continues to be remembered and talked about. Even if it has some issues now, it's still fairly well known. People still enjoy Anemoiapolis, even though the developer has moved on to other things, which may have disappointed some. At the time, it was a different kind of game, something that stood out compared to the Backrooms and Liminal Space type of content we were getting, while the genre was surging in popularity. It wasn't just another walking simulator with little to nothing to do in the game, it had a story, it had puzzles, and various interactive elements to it. You could climb on things, interact with items, and engage with the world in ways the other games didn't really offer. Even if these features were minor, or not game-changing for everyone, they added flavor to it, and made the game unique compared to most Backrooms titles at the time. It gave its own distinct identity to what was originally just a series of weird and creepy looking images. And I still think Anemoiapolis is one of the top Backrooms / Liminal Space games I've ever played. So, if you haven't already, I highly recommend playing it for yourself. It's $9 on Steam, and it would be awesome to support the developer, even if they're no longer continuing the project. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I do apologize for the lack of uploads recently. There's been a whole lot of stuff happening behind the scenes with both me, IRL, with getting back into university, plus a whole lot of other stuff coming to the channel, which, as you can probably tell by this video, a whole lot of new stuff is coming, and I'm very, very excited to show you guys what has been, being worked on and stuff, and I can't wait to show it off. So thank you guys again so much for your support. I hope you have a great rest of your day or night, and I'll see you next time. Alright, bye-bye.